The flat-top griddle hisses as a corn tortilla, stained crimson with beef fat, hits the 200-degree steel. Within seconds, Oaxaca cheese begins to bubble out the sides, forming a lacy, golden crust. This is the Los Angeles quesabirria, a viral sensation that evolved from a 16th-century goat stew born in Jalisco, Mexico. Making it at home requires mastering 3 distinct phases: a complex chile adobo, a low and slow braise, and a precise frying technique. To understand birria, you must first build the adobo paste. This is the soul of the dish. Start with 50 grams/1.7 ounce of dried guajillo chilies and 15 grams/0.5 ounce of dried ancho chilies. Remove the seeds and toast them in a dry pan over medium heat, around 175 degrees Celsius/350 degrees Fahrenheit, for exactly 2 minutes until fragrant. Do not burn them, or the broth turns bitter. Next, boil the toasted chilies in 480 milliliters/2 cups of water for 15 minutes to soften. Transfer the chilies and liquid to a blender. Add 4 peeled garlic cloves, 5 grams/1 teaspoon of whole cumin, and 15 milliliters/1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Blend until perfectly smooth. While Mateo's ancestors used goat, the LA style relies on beef for its rich, renderable fat. You need 1.4 kilograms/3 pounds of beef chuck roast and 900 grams/2 pounds of bone-in beef short rib. Heavily salt the meat. In a heavy Dutch oven, sear the beef at 200 degrees Celsius/400 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 minutes per side until a dark mahogany crust forms. Pour Mateo's blended adobo over the seared meat, along with 1.4 liters/6 cups of high-quality beef stock. Bring it to a simmer, cover tightly, and braise in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius/300 degrees Fahrenheit for exactly 210 minutes. At 3.5 hours, the collagen melts and the meat yields to a fork. When the pot comes out of the oven, the magic has happened. The meat must rest in its braising liquid for 30 minutes to reabsorb moisture. Remove the beef and shred it gently with 2 forks. The remaining red liquid is your consommé. Look at the surface. There is a thick layer of bright crimson fat floating on top. You must skim this fat into a separate wide bowl. This is your frying oil. Heat a cast iron skillet to medium-high, about 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a cold 15-centimeter, 6-inch white corn tortilla and dip it entirely into that warm, skimmed beef fat so it is completely coated. Now for the assembly. Lay that fat-soaked tortilla flat onto the 190 degrees Celsius, 375 degrees skillet. It will immediately begin to sizzle and fry. Quickly scatter 45 grams/1.5 ounces of shredded Oaxaca cheese over the entire surface. Once the cheese begins to melt, which takes about 60 seconds, add 60 grams/2 ounces of the warm shredded beef to just 1/2 of the tortilla. Fold the empty half over the meat using a spatula. Press down gently. Sear for 90 seconds per side until the cheese crisps into a frico edge and the tortilla becomes rigid and deeply red. A beautiful taco, Elena. But birria is nothing without its bath. The taco is dry without the consommé. Ladle 240 milliliters/1 cup of the hot, strained consommé, held at a steaming 85 degrees Celsius/185 degrees Fahrenheit, into a small serving bowl. Garnish the broth and the open edge of the tacos with 10 grams/1 tablespoon of finely diced white onion and 5 grams/1 teaspoon of fresh chopped cilantro. Finally, serve with a wedge of lime. The biggest mistake home cooks make is rushing the braise. If you boil the meat at high heat instead of a gentle 150 degrees Celsius or 300 degrees Fahrenheit oven simmer, the muscle fibers seize and become tough and stringy. It requires patience. The culinary leap from a rustic Jalisco goat soup to the Los Angeles quesabirria happened precisely because beef was more accessible in California, and it carries far more intramuscular fat. That extra rendered fat floating on the consommé is what created the frying medium. Without that skimmed fat, you cannot achieve the Instagram-famous crispy red shell. 3 distinct phases. 1. Legendary taco. First, toast and hydrate your dried guajillo and ancho chiles for a complex, authentic adobo base. Never rely on pre-ground powder. Second, use a combination of chuck and bone-in short rib, braising low and slow at 150 degrees Celsius, 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 3.5 hours to ensure tender meat and maximum fat rendering. Finally, the true secret to the LA style. Skim the bright red rendered fat from the consommé and use it to shallow fry your tortillas for that perfect, crisp finish. Thank you, Chef Mateo and Chef Elena, for sharing the science and soul of birria.